Hi, I'm Keith and welcome back to the channel. You know, sometimes you just got to take a moment to really appreciate things. As I was getting the opening shot this morning, I suddenly noticed a very specific scent in the air and realized,
I think I smell a skunk out here somewhere.
yeah, I should probably get moving. When you go for walks early in the morning, that is one of the things you have to be cautious about. Some of the wildlife. Before I start giving the updates for the week, I did need to ask something. I've been doing the videos in this format, I think since the middle of April now, so about a month and a half, almost 2 months. And for my regulars and the people that watch, I wanted to know if you feel like it's working for you. Do the videos flow better? Do you enjoy them more? Did you like it better when it was just the walking footage with the narration over it? Your input would really be important to me. It is amazing how much stronger I'm getting. I remember back in the fall, filming the walk was one of the toughest days of the week, and now it's one of the easiest. Now, I shoot the walk and I shoot the talky part on separate days. Yesterday was the walk, today's the talky part. And right now I'm into my second lap going around the big lap. I'll do one more big lap after this, then I'll do a mini lap, and then I'll walk back to the house. But when I was doing the first lap, I was doing a little update about my script. And it seems the universe is not without a sense of humor. The screenwriting software crashed on... For the record, I don't think that was an actual crash, but whatever it was, the timing on it was pretty funny, actually. But I took it as a sign from the universe. Stop talking about the script. No one cares. Fair enough. So you remember last week when I said I was going to stick with 4-mile days and I was going to sprinkle in the 5-mile days? That wasn't the case this week. In fact, it was kind of the opposite. I started with a 4-mile day the first day, but then the second day I said, yeah, you know, I'm going to do a 5-mile day. And then the day after that, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do another 5-mile day. And then another 5-mile day. And before I knew it, I was just doing 5 miles every day. And I wasn't just doing the 5 miles, I was excelling with the 5 miles. I don't want to jinx myself at all. I haven't had any trouble from any of the pains. The knee is holding up remarkably well. There's been no trouble from the back. Whatever that random old man pain is gone. I feel great right now. And I really missed feeling like great. The diet went really well this week. I seem to be holding strong with that. And now let's weigh in. 346.0. So a little over 3 pounds down from last week. And I'm halfway through the 340s. Things continue to go really well with that. You know, I don't want to make too much of a joke about this, but I have noticed that my calves been looking pretty badass lately. It might be time to start working on the arms and everything else. You know, it's hard to believe that this month is going to mark 9 months since I've been back on the weight loss journey. And I know there was some tough moments going through the winter, but I still made it through and I minimized the damage. And I really, you don't understand how bad I was in 2025. I really truly felt like I was back on my own personal hell. And that was especially defeating considering all the things I had done in the past. When I pulled myself back in 2018 and took on the mountain, I thought, hey, this is great. This is my life now. It will be one adventure after another. You know, and for a little while it was. A little while it was pretty cool. But then the pandemic hit and I never really fully recovered from that. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people lost their lives during that time period. But that was over 6 years ago now. And I did start to bounce back in 2021, but you know, I kind of felt like a bit of a fraud in 2021 because when I started, I was about 335 and that wasn't fully dressed wearing shoes. That was in shorts and a t-shirt and socks. And I never got below 300. And I did the Grand Canyon, but it wasn't a proper Keith weight loss journey. It was more of a Keith travel journey with some cool places. But something else you don't know about during that time period. When I did the Grand Canyon, I had been 3 days off my thyroid medicine because I ran out. Because it was 2021 and I was trying to avoid the hospitals, I ended up going like a couple of weeks without the medication, which wiped me out, like energy-wise was just completely decimated. So it took me a couple of weeks to recover when I got back on the medication. And that's when I headed off to Crater Lake. When I was doing the hike, I kept getting, good job, buddy. Good jobs from people. And it got really annoying. And I know they meant well. And I know they were trying to be encouraging. But I started getting kind of annoyed. I was like, you know, I hiked rim to rim at the Grand Canyon last month. And they're like, oh, wow, cool. So I took a little bit maybe too personal. You know, a lot of things started going wrong. Prices were high. I wasn't planning properly. But one of the big ones was a friend of mine, someone I was planning a hike with that summer, sadly passed away in a climbing accident. And that really hit because he was someone that was so supportive in so many ways. He was one of the guys that gave me the courage to summit Long's Peak on the day.
Man, ain't the most badass man. My sister's catching audio.
That's catching audio.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Is this the summit?
Yeah, brother!
Yes, sir.
You're here, man. Walk around. Let me get you some angles, man.
And him and I were in discussion about doing another mountain together. Going to be doing it later that summer. So when he died, I took that pretty bad, actually. The biggest regret that I have from 2021 was tucking my tail and going back to the East Coast. I should have figured it out. I should have made it work. I should have had a little bit more conviction, because when I got back here, it did not take me long at all to devolve back into bad habits. And going out of 2021, I was once again in rough shape. I had gained back the weight I had lost, and then I gained back more on top of that. But we'll talk about 2022 at another time. I do feel like I've rambled on long enough with this video. I know the most important thing is the updates. So we are going to wrap things up right there. If you'd like to hear how 2022 went, you can let me know that in the comments too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you with the next video. Until then, take care, and I'll see you later.